Now, Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon.
Well, let's get right into it. Our next guest is legendary frontman of one of the greatest bands to come out of the 90s. New television series called No Cover is going to be in the works. I know they already gone through the applicants. I want to talk all about that. Plus, Kingdom came out last summer. All that and more. Welcome to the show, Mr. Gavin Rossdale.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This is so great. So Mitch and I were just kind of joking off the air about this new TV show. It's like, you know, you've got American Idol and The Voice and all these shows, but you guys are literally looking for a genuine, legitimate new band to come out and play originals and make it on their own with their own tunage.
Yes.
You know, like what kind of challenges come along with that?
Good lyrics.
Yeah.
Good lyrics. You know, it's, as a lyricist, you know, someone's given myself to music. It's an ironic conundrum that some of the time the lyrics seem to the last thing that people are kind of paying attention to. But there were some great people in there, and we weeded them out, and I had a great time. The other judges were amazing. There was a really good balance of people, and it was just fun to have a job. You know, I mean, I went to every day to work and just hung out and just had to go there and give my opinion. I was like, you know, normally if I go to a set, it's like if I'm in a movie, I have to know lines, TV show, I know lines, a video, you got to know the words, you got to feel good, this, that. This was like, could you show up and tell us what you think? I was like, hell yeah.
We're getting paid to give my opinion, finally.
Yeah. Anytime, yeah.
And I mean, you got to hang out with the Coop. You got to hang out with Alice Cooper.
Yeah, that's the greatest thing right there.
But what a sweetheart.
Talk to me just real quick about the challenges that these artists and that the show is going to have maybe connecting with fans, because, you know, when you watch some of these other shows, you hear a guy singing, you go, oh, Adam Lambert is singing that White Snake song. Great. This is fantastic. This time they don't have that crutch in a sense. So what do you tell the artists and how do you convey that to the public to say, hey,
the main thing that I felt, the gist of it that I got from being on there was, the hardest thing for up and coming people or musicians is to be inspired by their favorite artists, right? But yet present their voices, themselves. And that was the biggest dilemma, really, was a lot of people, like some bands, like a couple of bands, like I can think of immediately, that had the most incredible musicians, these kids. You can't believe how good they are. But the last thing they've done, they've learned how to play. Like one kid just plays like Eddie Van Halen. It's just unbelievable. But the problem is that we had Eddie and we know Eddie, and this kid is like 16, and so it's all like, dude, just you know, music is a beautiful legacy. It's a process of like passing the baton, but you don't take that same baton. You just get inspired by it. So the trick was to find people that were proficient, had great history in music, but really their own voices. And then some people were like nearly really great. That's a really tricky one because no one, you know, it's really, what are you going to do? You're seventh. But basically everyone that got through had a lot of talent, and I don't know how it's going to come across. I tried not to be too Simon Cowell-like, but I was honest. You know,
well, you got the accent, so that's half the battle.
Yeah, that's racist. That's racist. That's racy.
So, I mean, well, you just said the kid, you know, was up there playing like Eddie Van Halen. I mean, you know, does he just bust out eruption in the middle of the audition, like, you know, like, or is it
just literally that degree of ability, that level of ability? It's quite stunning. But you know, there's a difference. Like if you take a classical musicians, for example, classical musicians, you know, if you want to completely trigger a classical musician, absolutely just tell them to improvise. They just no, we don't improvise. They study 6 hours a day, they read, that's it. So there's a danger that you could be really good at an instrument, but that doesn't mean like
you're actually really good.
What does it mean? That doesn't mean that you have anything to say. I mean, I'm not. They're probably all better guitar players than me, but I've had a really long career because it's the ideas that go with it. It's not just the ability, because you can keep going and find there's always someone better than you that plays better, plays faster, plays weirder. But it's like, you know, there's only one Stevie Wonder, there's only one Prince. You know, that's what you got to do, is find your voice. And so I think all of us, we had a very good consistent approach to helping these people realize their dreams was like, just the more you can be yourself, the more interesting, the more weird, and the more particular you are to yourselves. That's what we like. That's all I pushed on them. So, it's going to be edited, and I don't know if I'm going to come across I look like a jerk, but I try to be kind. I try to be nice.
Hey.
Just real quick on that. In terms of musical genre or musical style, did it matter if it was a rap artist or a rock artist? What were you looking for particularly?
A character. I mean, there was one band that was my favorite, and they were so heavy. It was like a body count. It was so heavy,
wow,
and so dangerous and so exciting. And I pushed them, I voted for them, and I was pushing to get them in the next round. They didn't have any more songs. I was like, so I was fighting, and then the producers afterwards, because there was a mercy council, so people can get saved and this and that. And I said, did they make it? And they go, no, because we went to the studio and they just literally didn't have any more songs. It's like they only had 3 songs. It's like, well,
damn,
dudes, could you get a bit more ready? This is your break, fuck's sake. So
we didn't expect to get to the 4th round. Sorry.
Yeah. Wasn't prepared for another question.
We didn't know we needed more than an EP. I mean,
yeah, that's what I mean. I was like, guys. And I think what happened is that they had one guy that sounded like he was in Sepultura, and one guy who sounded like Chuck D.
Billy?
Chuck D.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, I mean they were legit. I loved them. I couldn't. My money was all on them until I found out they didn't have any more material. I was like, fuck. I would have written a song for them in the morning, help them out.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, do you bring somebody in like Desmond Child or Gavin Rossdale to co-write with you for the album, or?
Yeah, I just up to them. I mean, they were so street, just looking cool as fuck, and I just was like, these guys have got it. I was like, yes. I was like, finally, they're gonna take you by the head and like throw you around. And the other people, there was an act that's more like that band Fantagram. They were more like, I loved them. They were great. Musically, They were great. She was really good, and they were very accomplished. They hadn't had a break. They were a little bit older than the other band, but they were brilliant. So I really voted for them. So it was weird, but I think the best that we saw won. That's what I would say.
You said something really interesting at the top there where you said, you kind of want to take your influences and sort of go a little bit further with it. When you talk about Bush and, those first couple albums, I mean, you were in the mid 90s where grunge was really at the top of peak. And I mean, you grew up through the 80s and stuff. What was it? Did you connect with those bands at all in the 80s? Like the Def Leppard and Motley Crue's, or? No,
I couldn't. I mean, I'm actually really good friends with Tommy Lee, so I don't want to say anything about Motley Crue. Being from England, we didn't know them. That's not a band, anything. So in England, it was all the Four, My Bloody Valentine, the Pixies. That's what it was. That's what the 80s was to me.
The Jam.
Like punk music that had gone beyond the 3-chord style of the 70s when it began, post-punk. And now you have idols and bands like that I fucking think are brilliant, amazing band. So.
But what was it about those 80s bands that just didn't speak to you?
The artifice of it. Artifice. I don't like artifice in music. I don't like it. That's why I like the Pixies. When I first heard the Pixies, I was super into reggae, and I just liked the Pixies because it was aggressive. So I like Public Image. So I went from the Sex Pistols. I was obsessed with the Sex Pistols. So after John Lydon left the Sex Pistols, he goes into Public Image Limited. That's where I learned about bass and jar wobble and the whole cycles of repetition, the whole bass, Glenn Branca thing, bass. And so then all the sound systems in London where I grew up, you'd have all the sound systems, so the toasters, the rap, not the MCs. Mm-hmm. And that culture was part of my culture, but I like the punk ethic. So when I saw the Four or the Pixies, I thought they're amazing. And then I had her, then I saw Jane's Addiction, early in version of Jane's Addiction. I was like, what are these guys? What's this performance? Who's this fucker?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. So you take all those things and you put them into a pot, and that's all my beginnings. Like I was totally into grunge and Soundgarden and Nirvana. They were very inspiring. But then we listened to Come Down. That's nicked from Billy Cobham. That do 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 do. That's Billy Cobham. That's Massive Attack.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I was always trying to do those things. Then that's why I did the Science of the Steve Albini record, because it's like live. But then I was like, oh, I need a hi-fi record. I did Science of Things, do the English, get a little trip hop, little trippy, and there's Tricky Times and Portishead and Blur, and everything was all bubbling like that. So I was like a bit of rock with that. And then I was like, fuck that. I need to do like a heavy record. So I went off and did whatever was after that. And it's always been this cycle of, and now I just make heavy records. Now it's just heavy.
Yeah.
The next record is so heavy. The Kingdom was heavy, and this is super heavy, the new one. Heavy is so funny because people are like, aren't you meant to be sitting down now? It's like, fuck it, no, I'm going to fucking go out in flames, motherfucker.
As you should.
As you should.
Absolutely. So that's it. So that's my journey. That's what I try to tell these people, explain it, that the more you dive into yourself, the more interesting you potentially become. And the less you show of yourself, the less interesting you become, because we don't need a 16-year-old kid playing like Eddie Van Halen.
Mm-hmm.
No one needs that. Nobody.
We need Eddie Van Halen. Well, you mentioned Steve Albini. What was it like working with him? Because to me, he sort of was the anti-Mutt Lange in a sense, whereas, Mutt is full production and Steve is full sort of soul and get to the essence.
Yes, exactly.
Talk to me about working with him.
Yeah, Steve doesn't even like to be accredited as a producer on albums anymore.
He calls them pig points. He doesn't want pig points. In fact, it's his wife's 50th birthday on Wednesday in Chicago, and we just sent a birthday video for her. So I've stayed excellent friends with Steve and Heather, very close friends, really good friends of mine. Working with him was a dream because I'd grown up on, the Pixies' Bone Machine. Surfer Rosa was a record that literally, like this, Never Mind the Bollocks was a big record. Mm-hmm. The Joshua Tree, probably Appetite for Destruction.
Great album. And you got Tom Zutaut on your show on
oh right, I never came across him actually on this. He had Mentor, and then you had that was it. And then so those were big records to me. So when I heard that, so when we had success with and Rid of Me, that record, the PJ Harvey record, Rid of Me, was phenomenal. And it was a very crazy move. We were very compared to Nirvana, and it was a bit commercial suicide. Was it the right thing to go and work with a person that had done the record with them?
Mm-hmm.
But when I went for lunch with Steve in Greektown in Chicago, I don't know. I just was like, he was such a hero of mine. And we discussed the Pixies and the making of Surfer Rosa. It took 9 days to do it.
Mm.
And I just thought if anyone could pick up the band and what we'd accrued being on the road for 3 years, it would be him. And we did. We really got that. Now, when I listen back to that record, I'm like, damn, man, look, I couldn't have fucking sung that another couple of times. I'm like, just some really out of tune singing.
Yeah, but that's there's a perfection in the imperfection.
Yes.
You need essence. It needs soul.
So he just did that. I'll give you an example. Like normally when you play with a string section, I might record a guide vocal, a guide track, sing to it, then replay the guitar, then sit back while the players come in, they play around me, then I go back in, maybe I sing it again, and then it's all said and done. We look like we've all been musicians from the 60s playing together. Well, we haven't at all. We've done it piecemeal.
Right.
Steve's like, no. You're playing with them. So I had to sit and play, and I mean, I'm not even a good guitar player now. I don't know what the fuck I was like then. So there I am struggling with these beautiful musicians, and just thinking, don't fuck up, get to the end of the song, because he doesn't do he doesn't do much editing.
Do the punch.
No, there's no comp.
No. One time you'll love the story. One time I said to him, hey, Steve, I was thinking about, the only thing I don't agree with Steve is he's not the Beach Boys. Now, I think at studios, you should experiment. I think experimentation in the studio, I love Brian Eno. So the idea of not experimenting in the studio is like, almost, it's hard for me. I love painters. They spend hours in studios. Well, of course you experiment.
Well, it's
But
part of the
great
fun.
moment. Once I said to Steve, I was thinking about this harmony. Now, you're allowed to do a harmony if it's compositionally intended. You're not allowed to have a secondary inspirational moment for some reason, right? Steve's weird, right? Okay.
Weird.
So I said, Steve, can I put a harmony on this bit? I promise you, I thought of it as I wrote the song. It's no problem. I've always thought of it. This harmony is as old as the song itself. So he goes, okay. So I go out and sing it, and I look at the track sheet afterwards, and I was going to call the record this, but I went for Razor Blade Suitcase. I looked at the track listing of number 14 and had track 14, Pointless Harmony.
Ah, yes. That's like, really bizarre that you had to have it like a preconceived thing for him to let you record it.
I don't want to know what to tell you. After he worked with us, he did get the call from Page and Plant, and he did the Page Plant record. There, he shut it. He didn't say much and just drank his half a pint of cider and ate his meals and just worked as long as they wanted. So he did plenty of experimentation. Well, and he'd do stuff like crazy stuff, like put a tin foil between the strings to make it sing. I was like, come on, Steve, just flex your stuff, So I forced him to do stuff with us. He was fantastic. He's great. We love him.
He's great. And by the way, if you listen to like early Sabbath and stuff, it's full of time signature mistakes. It's full of it. But that's what we love.
Well, they're human records.
Yeah.
It's not put on the grid and quantized and made robotic. And those records that you listen to the Tad records and even like the Breeders and Jesus Lizard, who you guys toured with late '90s. One of my favorite Albini records is John Spencer Blues Explosion.
Oh man,
incredible bands. Talking about the Jesus Lizard, do you have any tales from that tour you guys did together in like the late '90s? My buddy Adam.
I have so many. I've been trying to get a hold of David through the pandemic, and he lives in LA now. He's an actor, and we are really. I haven't seen him, but he's like my brother. I love him so much, and he's such a talented man. Probably my favorite memory, I would say, July 4th, Hershey Park, and he's wearing a chef's hat, no underwear, a chef's apron, and cowboy boots, and just does the show stark naked. But what's beautiful about him, and then in the crowd, nuts everywhere, and just now probably couldn't do it now, probably get in trouble. But what was the best thing about his performance? Now, he's probably my favorite performer ever I've seen to watch. I love that band. In fact, I just got Tomahawk have just brought out a new record, and Dwayne just sent me the copy and a Jesus Lizard t-shirt. So it just was a real learning experience, because he just defies. I don't know what, he's very Per Ubu, that's where the Jesus Lizard, very Per Ubu, but what a freaking band, and so tight and strong. It was such an honor. That was the best tour I've ever done, with Souls, my band from Sweden, and them, and then us. That was, I'm really happy now, but when I think of that was a lot of happiness too.
Those were good times. Well, Kingdom's available now, plus this great new TV show. Is it
Amazon? It's Christmas every day from Amazon. I bought that fucker his boat. Jesus Christ, my kids have got my password. I'm screwed.
I know. Dude, same day shipping. That'll ruin your credit card.
Talk to me just real quick about the Kingdom, because you haven't been able to tour on it. So do you get back in there and make a follow-up right away, or do you say, no, I'm going to tour this thing before
Hell no,
I make something?
I'm halfway through a bunch of songs.
Oh, nice.
And then I also plan to go collaborate, see what the band have got, see what Tyler's got. I'm open to, I just want to do a great record. So I'm already 10 songs in to a new record. And I think that, we had 30 million plays off of the Kingdom. Now, would we have had 100 million if we'd been on tour? Maybe. But, look, people were dying. We stayed safe. The world collapsed. I didn't moan for 1 minute about it. It's just, everyone's dealing with different situations. And it's going to be like, I know people are saying it, but I think it's going to be like the Roaring 20s. When we go back, I want everyone to come to the shows and lose inhibitions and have fun and hang out. It's going to be such a celebration of life, you know. So I think it'd be smart if you guys agree, you know, make a new record and then go later in the year or come next year and tour everything, tour all the records. Who cares? You know, just be great. Try and be good.
Are you one of those artists that's kind of like afraid of the past discography? Because there's certain artists out there that are like, oh, we're not playing the old stuff. We're just playing the new stuff. Don't talk to us even about the old stuff.
Well, no, I don't believe in that being that dogmatic, because obviously that those old songs bought these headphones. The new songs didn't buy these headphones. So
not yet.
Not at 1 cent a stream.
So no, I don't have that. I look at those songs with such gratitude that I have to find a balance. I think of it like when I go and see a show, if I go and see the Pumpkins, they better play the fucking hits as well as some things. Else I'm just like, what's the point? So you just got to do the balance. The challenging thing is the last couple of tours we've done, these sort of festival type rotating headline, which bands we love. We've done it with STP, with Live. We're about to do it with STP again in Australia. The only complaint I would have is you only play an hour. And in that hour, now it's a festival set. I got to play Glycerine. I got to play Come Down. I got to play Machine Head. I got to play Zen. I got to play Little Things. I just got to, else people are like, fuck that guy.
Flowers on a Grave.
Yeah. So now you 6. Now you've only got 4 left. Now you're talking about a new record, talking about the Kingdom. It's a lot. So I don't want to do the I mean, much as I love Dave and the Foos, the 3.5 hour shows, I'm not strong enough to do vocally or physically. So I don't think that's a bit long for me. But I do think an hour 45 show makes sense when you want to play the number of songs. It just does, you know, not more than that. Yeah, and 2 hours is too much. Nobody needs that. But I think 1 hour 30 set and then a pause and then a 10-minute encore. That's my happy time. That's my happy space.
As Mitch would say, just drop the drum solo and the guitar solo and put 2 more songs in.
Yeah, that's what I say. No need to waste song space on the drum solo. I'm just sorry. Nobody bought a ticket and goes, man, I hope they have a drum solo tonight. Oh, man. No.
We've never quite. The biggest we've done is we have an intro of a song called Testosterone, which starts with drums. And the only drum solos we ever had is the one time it was the drummer's birthday. We had him start the song and we just left the stage. It was
nice.
I don't know how long he was there for, but it was good drama. It just was like, Jesus fucking Christ, come back.
Well, that's awesome.
Do that again. That I approve of. Comedy, I'm for. All for comedy.
Yeah.
With Shellac, Shellac with Steve Albini's band. Do you know much about Shellac? They're my favorite singular band of all time.
Really?
I love Shellac. Oh my God. The best band to see live ever. I have traveled. I took Gwen to Belfast to see Shellac.
Wow.
That's how dedicated I am. Yeah, I took Gwen Stefani to Belfast. Put a little bit of lead in a pencil, you know, give her a bit of humanity.
I'm waiting for you to pull out your Shellac membership card, like out of your wallet.
Oh, I'm a member of that fraternity. They're very good friends of mine, and they do this wonderful thing at the end of their shows where the guys playing drums and Steve and Bob, they not only do a thing, they catch the cymbals. They start to take his whole kit off the stage. They don't have, obviously they're too cool for roadies, so they'll take his. So they do walking off with a crash cymbal, ride cymbal.
Oh, that's awesome!
Bombs, and
they deconstruct.
Yeah,
that's a good shtick.
Oh,
that's great.
Google it. You'll see it on YouTube. It's all over YouTube.
My buddy Adam's gonna love that story. That's great.
I approve of that. I approve of that. That's a good visual. That's a smart visual, actually.
Yeah.
Just start rolling the amps off.
Well, because
the fans are like, "We want more," and they're like, "We can't. Everything's gone."
The drummer plays in the front. The drummer is the center, and the other two are either side of him. And so it's a different look. It's something else. It's another dimension. I would love to.
Yeah, you guys gotta nick that bit. Just the next Bush show, just start taking all the gear off the stage mid-song.
Yeah, my band, they're a little bit mollycoddled for that. They're not lifting too much stuff. They're not lifters. I don't know about that.
I get the opening band to lift the stuff off. Anyway.
All right. Well, Gavin, this is awesome. We're running out of time. Check out The Kingdom. It's available now where music is sold. And No Cover going to be very soon, which is very exciting. It's going to be my new favorite show.
Well, let's hope so. And don't hate me for it. I try to be honest.
No, listen, you're there. Alice Cooper's there. What do you,
Lizzie Hale, what more do you want?
Do you want any questions? Do you want anything about Alice Cooper? Any dish on
Mitch,
Cooper?
there's your chance. There's your window.
Well, the one thing is I'm very familiar with the Cooper camp. I've met them and interviewed them plenty of times. But yeah, what's your great Alice Cooper story? Did he give you the old man perspective, for lack of a better word?
That's a little clunky. He reminded me of when I was lucky enough to meet Tom Waits, and it was a lesson in the humility of greatness. And it's a beautiful thing. You know, I've met so many people in this incredible journey I've been on and still on. And, you know, the fair to middling musicians that you meet are usually the biggest bunch of arseholes you meet. Mm-hmm. And the cream of the crop, the ones with the extraterrestrial vision, careers, someone like Mr. Alice Cooper, is a beautiful person, great perspective, full of wisdom, insight, and kindness. And it's a great sort of inspirational lesson of how to be as a human being, because he's like the least jerky guy in the room. You know, he's the coolest guy being in the Troubadour. So it was a real pleasure being around him.
He's an absolute sweetheart. And I'll tell you this.
And a great golfer. He's a scratch two. He's two. And I don't know golf. I actually hate golf. It's a terrible sport, I think.
But the most boring shit ever.
It's an entitled, horrific white guy.
It's like a drum solo.
Do you know there was one time I was in Portugal, we had a couple of days off, and I went off to play my tennis, and I was wandering around and drinking local wine all day long, having a laugh. And I walked into the lobby and I heard this voice say, "Hey, Gav, what are you doing?" I walked past my drummer and my bass player. They're going to play golf, and they were dressed in their golf clothes. They look like such jerks. I walked right past them. I didn't know them, and I'm 20 years straight. And that, when they're sort of like their slacks and that look, they're just like I don't know, Aryans on a weekend out. You know, like,
the checkered pants and the vest.
There's this Orange County racist people.
Oh God! Oh, that's great. Well, we're running out of time, so this was great, Gav. Anything else you want to say before we go?
Thanks for having me. You know, and I'm working on the new record.
Good. Bring it on. Let's do another show in Montreal. 9 years has been too long.
Are you guys in Montreal?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. So you have all the most incredible food up there. It's just, oh my God.
Yeah, but next time you're in town, I'll take you to the places. Let me know.
You will?
Yeah, he knows the places. Jeremy,
what's your favorite place?
There's so many. I mean, are you vegan? You vegetarian?
No, I'm an omnivore.
No? I'll take it.
How about Indian food? How about Indian food? Are you Indian
food? Joe Beef or Atma for curry?
Joe Beef is my favorite restaurant. I went there.
Yeah, that's the spot.
I went to Joe Beef. I had the big night there. Oh, that's my jam. Great. I went there. I love those guys.
Yeah, sure. So I'll bring you to a couple of other places that are a little bit more on the deal that only the in people know. And
Atma for Indian food. Yeah, we got you covered.
All right, I'm a real good fun pig.
Perfect. Same.
All right.
Our treat.
Thanks, Gavin.
Thanks.
Merci beaucoup, as we say in Montreal.
À plus, hein. À plus. Merci pour tout.
À plus tard.
This has been Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon. For more exclusive content and interviews, subscribe on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, and many more. Follow Mitch on all the socials, especially Twitter, @Mitch Lafon, and on Instagram, @Mitch_Lafon. Get your Mitch merch now at loudtracks.com/Mitch.